Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running talk show on computers and technology. Thank you so much for joining us once again as we have another great episode planned for you today. And today on the show, I'm very excited to say that our guest is NETGEAR. That's right. And we are going to be talking about their latest line of products. And this is, of course, webcams. They've been out for a few years, but, we're really going to get into it. And specifically their new Arlo Pro and what it has to offer, and really what the entire Arlo security camera line has to offer in general. So sit back and relax as we talk about that. Also, I should mention computeramerica.com for full show notes and links to things such as the Arlo Pro camera. And one last thing, we have a social media contest. That's right. Our friends over at Logitech are putting up a prize, and we are giving it away this afternoon to one lucky listener. So here we go with Computer America.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at computeramerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. I am your host, Ben Crossman, as we jump into today's show. And that's right, I hope everyone out there is wrapping up the week strong, ending strong, and having an otherwise good day, and tuning into Computer America to make things just that little bit better. So, welcome into another program. And for everyone here who may have somehow not read the title or just listening in, around the country, NETGEAR is going to be joining us. That's right. They are, I think, one of the most recognized brands when it comes to, routers and things of that and networking gear. I mean, they have, of course, been around for a long, long time. And you probably know this already, but for those of you who don't, they have a line of security cameras, of Wi-Fi enabled security cameras called Arlo. And we have on the senior product line manager, Mr. Oleg Fishel, here with us to talk about their line. The Arlo Pro, which is, just a great set of features and, very weather resistant. Anyways, we're going to get into all of that in just a moment. But before we jump into NETGEAR, why don't we talk about real quick computeramerica.com, because that is our home. That is where we do everything out of, and you will find things such as the show notes. You will find links to any articles that we cover, any links to websites. Everything that we do here on the show is in one convenient place. So if for any reason you want to go back and find something, or you want to look at something again, or even listen to the archives, maybe you missed a part of a show, well, it's all going to be right there in the show notes. Check it out. We do that every single day here on Computer America. And while you're at our website, be sure to check out, of course, the live video stream where you can see myself. You can see, the website. You can see videos, demonstrations, products. The video's not necessary, but it's a great way to experience Computer America. And last thing, social media, Facebook, we're giving away a prize to one of our Facebook followers, and someone who entered a contest, and we will be giving away a prize from Logitech. We'll do that later in the show. Stay tuned, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, with all of that said, sorry to run right through that, but I feel like we're going to be pressed for time here just a little bit with, again, our guest. So, let me introduce once again, he is the Senior Product Line Manager for Arlo, and this is Mr. Oleg Fishel. Oleg, thank you so much for joining us once again. I believe that you've been on Computer America before, right?
I have, yes. We talked about a new router product that we had a couple years ago, I think.
Yeah, no, it's been a little while, but I definitely remember you. It's I didn't ask last time, but the name Oleg really sticks out at you. It's it's not your Steve,
Yeah, it's actually a Russian name. So
Oh, very
there
very
you go. Now you're talking to a known Russian.
Well, I hear that's going around lately with a lot of people. But we're talking about good things though. This is good things with a good Russian. And so, Oleg, why don't we start at the very beginning for everyone? Netgear. I think people know about that one, but why don't we start with Arlo and your line of cameras? How did that come about? How did that get started, and how did Netgear get involved in cameras?
Well, it's actually a really good question. So quite a while ago now, our our CEO was looking around at the landscape, and he was thinking what was out there outside of networking that was going to really potentially be that next big thing, right? We were doing this was back in 2000, I think 12 or 13.
Hmm.
We were This was even prior to our Nighthawk launch. So we knew that there was still a lot of run rate with routers, but he was always looking for that next big thing. And there was a tiny little company called Avok that was selling at that time little view zone cameras. And view zone cameras were the first and only at that time battery powered camera.
Right.
And they were doing very, very well. And the problem with view zone actually at the time, the only problem was they couldn't scale. They were too small. As they were growing, the back end just couldn't handle it. People were having outages, and their video wasn't working. But the concept was very, very sound. They were tiny little cameras. They were giving um, not HD, but fairly decent video quality that was uploaded to a cloud, and that allowed people to view video from their camera directly on an app. And they were all uh, motion detection cameras. So our CEO came in, swooped in, and gobbled them up. And over the course of the next 2.5 years, just completely redefined their their company, our company, their team, our team, restructured, and came out and turned that whole thing into Arlo. And in early at right around CES time in 2015, which is 2 years ago now, we announced Arlo wire free. And initially, we were very excited. We thought it was going to do really well. We talked to our retailer partners. They thought it was going to do really well, but we hadn't sold anything yet. And ViewZone, in the intervening time between when we purchased Avok and when we launched Arlo, there wasn't a ton done there, right? We spent all of our efforts in restructuring and rebranding and creating this new product. So it was a big risk, and everyone had their fingers crossed. And we launched these cameras that were HD 720p. They came with a little base station that you connect to your router, and over Wi-Fi you could communicate with these cameras, and it would upload motion activated video up to the cloud that was visible through an app on your phone, tablet, or through the web through a web browser. Well, that camera went absolutely gangbusters. So we went from just about 0% uh, um, market share
Right.
in January of 2015 to, by the end of 2015, we were about 30%. So of every single
Wow.
camera that was sold in the marketplace, of every single consumer IP camera, one third of them were Arlos. In 2016, that trajectory continued. The growth of the camera market in general has been absolutely phenomenal, 40% year-on-year growth, and we continue to be significantly, or just about a third of the market, and we account for a huge percentage of the growth. So we're doing well. There's new companies coming in all the time. We are trying to stay ahead of the competition. But one thing that's really interesting to think about is, like I said, Avok had been selling those cameras, those view zone cameras, since 2011, 2012, 2013,
Hmm.
and as recently as CES of this year, there wasn't another truly wire-free camera out there on the marketplace. You
Wow.
think about that. So Ring has a camera that's the stick 'em up cam, which is kind of a wire, or kind of wire free, but it's not quite in that same vein. And one of the reasons is we have this proprietary technology, the base station, really low power Wi-Fi, all this kind of stuff that we do that is very, very, very difficult. So the combination of consistency, smooth video, really, really good user experience, and battery power, all in a very handsome package, that's really
I
easy to put up and take down.
right.
That combination of things has proven to be very, very difficult to compete with.
I
And
I
so
I think
so
that's
we've kept our edge. Yep.
right. Yeah, I think that one thing that you highlighted there at the beginning very well was that a company, there's a company out there, they were doing it, they were trying, and then like you said, problems with scaling. So of course Netgear came in, and Netgear at that point, had no problems of scaling because Netgear was already that big. So it makes sense that anyone else trying to
Right.
break into the market, of uh, you know, cameras and Wi-Fi cameras and what have you for security, they're going to run into the same problems, but they don't have the backing of a company such as Netgear behind them. It makes sense that you guys are so popular.
Yeah, yeah, and thank you for noticing that. That I mean, that absolutely was a big part of it. Another big part of it was we just happened to have at that time a pretty significant effort going on to update all of our cloud. At that time, we had Netgear Genie and Netgear Genie Cloud and Ready Cloud, and all of that was going on.
Hmm.
So we had a cloud team that was working on this cloud infrastructure, and that team was really good, really tight, really small team, and we took that team and had them build the whole Arlo backend infrastructure from scratch, essentially.
Makes
Just
perfect sense.
completely rebuild everything.
Let's let's
And
oh,
and
go ahead.
and yeah, and I think that in as much as anything else, I think that made all the difference. That we now have a totally scalable solution, and uptime is exactly what you would expect as a consumer, and it's really been a huge success.
Right. So, and before we even dive into the product line, by the way, if you're watching the video portion, we have, we're kind of showing off all of them. But before we jump into even Arlo in particular, what for anyone out there who maybe has been thinking about it or has been thinking I don't need that kind of thing, why don't you just kind of describe in general why the idea of a Wi-Fi camera for your home is taking off? Because like you said, there's a lot of growth there and a lot of people are doing it. Why do you feel people are putting these cameras in their homes?
Sure. So I mean, I could talk first in general and then about Arlo specifically. So in
Sure.
general, if you look back as recently as 5 years ago, there really wasn't a true consumer wire-free camera that or IP camera or any kind of camera that you could easily or inexpensively put up in your home. It just didn't physically exist. The only way really to do it is through a monitored solution, through a huge security company like an ADT, an Alarm.com, a Monotronic, somebody big like that. And they had a huge part of the market, of course, but it was never going to be everybody, right? Because there's a lot of people who don't want to shell out, they don't want to pay monthly, they don't necessarily trust a big company to do their security, or they want control.
Hmm?
And right around that time, 4 or 5 years ago, a bunch of little companies started coming out, and bigger companies like Samsung, D-Link, Dropcam started coming out with USB-powered Wi-Fi cameras. And those were really interesting, really cool. They connected to your Wi-Fi router. You could put them throughout your house. And it got people thinking, hey, this is a way for me to keep an eye on my home when I'm not home. And people got a taste for it, and they thought, oh, wow, this is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But it still didn't really hit that hockey stick yet because there was a big part of that missing, and that's all of those cameras were indoor, and all of those cameras were attached to a wire, which meant you always had to be within a certain number of feet of an outlet.
Right.
And as we all know, if you care about your security, if you care about your safety, you have to be watching your entrances and exits, front door, back door, main windows, garage, things like that. You can't do that from inside, right? You need to do that from outside. And typically there's not a power outlet readily available. And it's not necessary, and even if there is, it's not necessarily where you want to put your camera. So you need a ruggedized, weatherproof day-night camera that you can put up. And when Arlo hit the marketplace with all of that functionality where you could just take the product out of the box and it was fully weatherproof, it was fully wire-free, battery-powered, and it only notified that something was happening when something was happening, right? It wasn't always recording, constantly letting you know nothing is going on. It
Right.
only triggered when there was motion. It sent email notification or an app notification, and there was this immediate visceral reaction that wow, now not only can I know what's going on at my house when I want to, but I always know if there's anything interesting happening at my house all the time. And when people got a taste for it, even though in 2015 people didn't really know that Arlo brand,
Mm-hmm.
um, people started going to the store and picking it up like crazy because they saw the big difference. People would come in and say, "Hey, I hear that there are these really simple cameras I can put up in my house, keep an eye on what's important to me, but what about outside?" And as soon as they asked those like couple of key questions, what about outside? What about if I don't have a power outlet? They immediately were steered to Arlo and they started flying off the shelf. We couldn't keep up with demand.
Makes a lot of sense. It sounds like, people just naturally want to, you know, have that control of their own security, be able to, check up on their homes, not just, whenever they want, not just 24/7, but also have it kind of monitored themselves with the whole motion tracking. We're going to get into some of these features, in particular, but it sounds like a combination of right place, right time, and just having the product line available, like having it on the shelf before people decided, oh, we want something like that. So great positioning by Arlo. And, we've been talking a lot about where you can put it up and things like that. Why don't we start, from scratch and go, let's say someone goes out and picks up an Arlo off of this, off of the store shelf and bring it home. Can you go through the setup process of an Arlo camera?
Sure, sure, absolutely. It's a very, very easy. I obviously do it a lot. So you start right away by downloading the app. That's the first thing you do. You download the app either on your phone or on your tablet, or you go to the website on your laptop. Then you open the box. It comes with a base station. The base station is really easy to set up. All you do is plug it into the wall for power, and then use an Ethernet cable, plug it into your router, any open port in your router. The uh, base station takes maybe 30 seconds to connect to the internet. When it's connected, you take your camera out, put the batteries inside of the camera, press the sync button on the camera, press the sync button on the base station. About 15 seconds, they sync up. That camera is now connected. Now, the hardest part is figuring out where in your house or where on the outside of your house you want to put that camera. So do you want to put it on a tree facing your house? Do you want to put it on your awning facing your front door? Do you want to put it next to your doorbell facing out? And then we have several mounting options. So the camera actually comes with a magnet built into the back.
Mm-hmm.
So you can stick it on any metallic surface, or it comes with a dome magnet mount. So you just put a single screw into whatever surface, put the magnet mount on there, and then you can place the camera facing any direction, straight down, straight out, straight up, however you want to do it. And as long as you're within that typical Wi-Fi range from your base station, that camera is ready to stream on motion. And then by default, it's set up to trigger whenever somebody walks in front of the camera. So it's roughly 20 feet. So if somebody
Right.
walks within 20 feet of the camera, it will trigger motion. The camera will start to record. It will record for however long you have it set up to do that in your app. And then it will send a notification that something happened and I made a recording. Then the user can go into the app, view the
Do the video. Right.
camera, and they're good to go. Yeah, view the video, and they're good to go. I guess I skipped one step. So after you open the app, you have to create an account. So it's
Right.
essentially username, password, email address. That's about it.
Right. And just a few
And
points of clarification there. I mean, you mentioned that has to be within the range of the base station. Now, is the base station a repeater, router, a signal giving device itself, or is it just on your home Wi-Fi network? Maybe they have a Netgear router in another room. Like, is the base station the place where it gets the signal, or is the home Wi-Fi router the place where it gets the signal?
so the base station is its own little router, and it creates a network just for Arlo cameras. And the
Okay.
reason that we have a separate base station to the router is that it has a proprietary low power Wi-Fi. I can't talk too much about it, but I can say that Wi-Fi is very chatty,
Mm-hmm.
and so if when your camera is on Wi-Fi, just the very fact that it remains connected, um, which it needs to do in case you ever want to reach out and live stream from that camera. So let's say you're at work, you want to see what's going on at home, press live stream. That camera has to be connected. In order to stay connected on a typical Wi-Fi connection, it's very, very power consumptive.
Right.
So rather than doing that, we have a proprietary low power Wi-Fi through the base station to allow the camera in the base station to remain connected all the time without expending a tremendous amount of power.
No, makes perfect sense because those cameras they do they do suck up a lot of bandwidth and power otherwise. So very cool that you set up your own network, especially for that. And the second part is just this past week, it's why it's on my mind. We did a nice review of things like Plex and network attack storage and things like that. You mentioned that you can, of course, have cloud storage. We're going to talk about some of the plans that are offered through Arlo and NETGEAR. But let's say you wanted to send your videos, passively to a network attached storage or some hard drive or some computer that isn't the Arlo cloud. I mean, can you send it to, again, a network attached storage that you own?
So so we don't yet have NAS capability,
Hmm.
and part of that is simply that the NAS community is fairly narrow, and we're just spending so much time trying to keep up with the broad market right now.
Right.
So we have this capability. We know that it seems silly that we can't make that communication occur, but it is a level of effort. It's non-trivial, and we haven't been able to do that yet. But it's definitely on the roadmap. We've been talking about it for a while now, and we hope to have it very soon. On the other hand, with our brand new Arlo Pro cameras that just came out in October, the base station has a USB port, and you can plug any USB connected storage into that port, and then you can offload directly into any USB attached hard drive. So it's not a NAS,
Right.
but you can still offload locally. You can do local storage.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. And again, I mean, you guys have been working on this diligently, and I'm sure features are coming every iteration. In fact, we're going to be talking about a few of those. So, you know, the Arlo Pro, as we mentioned, just launched a couple of months ago. Not even half a year old or barely half a year old. So, it looks very similar. We have, the images. It's, for anyone out there who's simply listening to the show, uh, could you describe what the Arlo Pro looks like and what is new about it that maybe the Arlo wireless that we mentioned earlier didn't have before?
Yeah, I mean so the look and feel, the iconic look of the Arlo is I don't know what's the best way to describe it. It's like a little bit of a squished egg,
Right.
and it's white, glossy, and it's meant to look very consumer friendly, look very comfortable in home styling. And the new Arlo Pro looks a lot like the original Arlo wire free, but it's a teeny bit taller, a teeny bit longer to account for a couple of new features. So it still has that slightly squished egg shape, um, but now we've added microphone and speaker to the front of the camera, and that is to allow for two-way audio. So now not only can you see what's happening at your camera, but you can also talk to people that are there. So if there's a person at your front door, you get a notification. Say you take a look at that video clip and you say, "Oh my goodness, there's somebody at my front door that I don't know."
Hmm.
And I see that they're still at my front door. I don't know why. So then you could live stream. You see them. Now you can talk to them and say, "Hey, what are you doing at my house?" And then they can respond and you can hear them. They can say, "Hey, I'm here to take your TV." And you've had a wonderful conversation, very meaningful.
Right.
So, um, so we've added that. We've also added something that really made a big difference. So one thing I didn't mention is the Arlo wire free runs on four CR123 typical camera batteries. You get about 6 months of typical use on Arlo wire free on those batteries. But even in 6 months, if you have more than one camera, and typically people have between two and three cameras, our typical user, you're talking about swapping out 8 batteries, 8 to 12 batteries every 6 months. And you're
Right.
not just swapping them out, you're actually throwing out 8 to 12 batteries every 6 months. So people didn't like that at all. So we took that feedback and we have now a removable rechargeable battery. So now instead of having to throw a battery out every 6 months, and you'll get your 6 months of battery life, but you can actually charge it up. And that allows you to do two additional things, which is you can now run your Arlo battery or on power. So if you do live in a situation where you are close to where your camera is close to a power outlet, and you can plug it in, and you feel confident with that, then you can leave it out powered forever.
Hmm.
And similarly, very, very soon, we've already announced, and very soon we're going to have available a solar panel.
Really?
And now you can plug in our Arlo solar panel to the back of the camera, and it will run essentially indefinitely. So it takes about 2 to 3 days of sun to power up the battery full. So even with really extensive use, the battery will essentially be powered up indefinitely, even in places with minimal sun.
Right. And
So
and and you guys have put a
so
lot.
we're very, very excited about that as well.
Right, and it sounds like you guys have put a lot of effort into, low power consumption, make it very, very, make it very easy to, of course, charge up and use. So that solar panel, that's a very, very good idea. Someone's having themselves a very good day. So, the microphone and the speaker, I mean, that's also going to be very good. The live stream quality is 720p as well.
Yes, it is 720p, and I can talk about that for just a brief second. So we
Sure.
do get questions about 1080p. Why isn't it 1080p? And we constantly make the decision. It's a conscious calculation that we make. What is most important to users? And what we find is that the most important thing really is battery life. That you can put the camera out and not have to think about it for half a year. And 1080p by definition is going to draw more power. And what we found is when you take that trade off, power is always going to win out. So that's why we felt that confident in the 720p. We saw with the wire free that people were fairly happy with the video quality, and so we stuck with that because it was very important to us to continue to have that battery life.
Yeah, that
And there's
that
a
is.
couple of other things on the new camera that we have. Oh, please go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't
Uh,
want to cut you off.
no, the one thing I want to mention is that that is uh, industry standard at this point to have 720. I know that TVs are really pushing resolution, and resolution is such a big selling point for so many other electronics in our lives. But for security cameras, 720p, just like you said, I mean, power consumption versus the video quality that you get. I mean, you can clearly make out someone's face, but you also make that trade off of, oh, my camera can run now for an additional couple weeks, months, days, whatever it may be. So, no, very good point. But you were going to mention something else?
Yeah, so we have a couple of other features. One of them is which is video related. So on the new Arlo Pro, we have increased the field of view by 30 degrees. So now, or by 20 degrees. So now it's a 130-degree field of view, and why that's important is now you can see on the periphery that much more. And in addition to that, we've increased the speed and also field of view of the motion detection. So whereas before it may have taken, you know, 1 to 2 seconds for the motion detection trigger and the video to start. And if somebody's running across the camera, across the field of view of the camera, a second or two is more than enough for the person to run past and not be noticed at all. Now it's 100 to 200 milliseconds. So it's significantly under half a second, which means that you catch everything,
Right.
and that makes a really, really big difference to people. So now you see more, right, with a wider field of view, and you get to capture more quickly. So it's almost impossible for somebody to try to walk through the field of view or run through the field of view or fly through the field of view without being noticed, to the point where we're regularly capturing hummingbirds,
That
at least at
is
my house.
right. Yeah, that is of course very important. And on top of that, we have time to get into like one more little thing. I hope you'll stay over so we can really get into some of these other points. But also since we're sticking to
Sure.
video real quick, if you could get into night vision and kind of what that looks like and why you decided to add night vision to your cameras.
Yeah, obviously, when you think about security, and at the end of the day, this really is a security device. Um, People are most concerned at night, right? Even though things do happen during the day, really people are most concerned at night, especially when they're sleeping. And if to take a camera and put it outdoors, that doesn't work for the most important part of the day, it just didn't seem like it made any sense. So we added night vision infrared. So they're little LED lights, that emit 850 nanometer night vision IR for those techies who understand that sort of thing. Um, but it's fairly industry standard night vision, and then the camera can then uh, capture the light that night vision light that bounces off of everything and actually
Right.
create a fairly good representative picture. So it's actually color, but because it's dark, the color is actually fairly faint, so it looks black and white.
Right.
So it's really useful actually for us. We used it for a very short period of time. We used it in the kids' room, and it's really cool to see if the kids are rolling around. Or making noise. You get to see what's going on in there.
There was
At
that
night.
recent and just real quick, there was that recent video of the kids with the night cam went viral, and everyone saw the two kids, the twins romping around. But hey, Oleg, the music means that we have to take a break. We'll be back with we'll be back with more Netgear, and we'll get into a lot more of these topics. I know we've only covered a small bit, so we'll be back with more Computer America, more Oleg Fishel from Netgear, and again, we're talking about the Arlo security cameras. Once again, we'll be back just after this. Stay tuned for more Computer America.
Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. Their mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 31 minutes past the hour as we continue on here. And, it's about this time. We're probably going to wait a couple minutes to do it. But, yeah, in a little bit, we'll be announcing our Facebook winner, our social media winner. We pick one of our social media contest followers, and we give them away a Keys to Go keyboard from Logitech, $70 value. And once again, we love doing that. So we'll do that here in just a moment. But before we do that, we of course want to get back to Oleg Fishel, and again, he is with Netgear and the Arlo division, security cameras. And Oleg, I hate to say this, but we might have to speed things up just a little bit to get through more of these questions because so we covered the video, increased field of range, night vision, shorter duration motion sensing, so you get everything and not just some things. Sounds like you guys have really put a lot of work into, once again, the Arlo Pro. The last thing I wanted to mention about, kind of the unit itself is that, we should really highlight this. This thing is weatherproof. This thing is designed to go outside. What conditions can the Arlo withstand?
So it's rated IP65, and what essentially that means is that you can put a steady stream of spray of water on it. We've tested it actually recently for a use case I won't get into, but we screwed it onto a post, or one of our sales guys,
Mm-hmm.
and blasted it with a hose, a high pressure water hose, from all sides, and recorded while he did it, and it worked just fine. So essentially, it's meant to withstand medium grade hurricane winds and water.
So it doesn't have to be completely protected, but like you said, if you want to put it in attach it to a large tree or put it underneath an awning, it should be perfectly fine outside, right?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. So it's definitely meant rain or snow, wind or uh, hail, whatever weather conditions. It's meant to be able to see anything that you would be.
Perfect. Okay, now this let's jump into we talked a bit about cloud storage. We can talk more about Arlo, how it exactly stores your video, and then if you could also get into what kind of measures you've taken for security purposes, because we've it seems like almost every other day we're talking about another organization has been hacked or someone left a password off of a database. Something happened and people's information gets lost. And I'm sure you know more than most that what you can use the Arlo products for is very personal, be it a baby cam for your kids, be it for home security, so people can know when you're not home. But how secure is the Arlo footage and data that you get from these cameras?
Yeah. So first and foremost, the cloud that we use is Amazon Web Services cloud. So this is not your mom and pop tiny little you know built from scratch thing. This is
Right.
this is a huge uh, redundant cloud infrastructure that is very, very trusted and has a tremendous amount of security in and of itself. On top of that, the entire system is built to essentially take the camera off of the typical router system. So we at Netgear take security very seriously. We have a security um, organization within Netgear. There's a committee gets together regularly. We have to send every single product through a security audit.
Hmm.
Once the audit comes through, we have a minimum amount of time to fix issues that are found. So critical issues have to be fixed within a week. Actually, super critical issues have to be fixed within 48 hours. More just typical critical issues have to be fixed within a week. You know, priority two issues have to be fixed within a month, etc.
Right.
So we stick to that very carefully. We also have a promotion through our router group where we actually pay people to find security holes in our routers. So on Netgear, we are very cognizant about security, and we care very deeply about that, and we're constantly auditing ourselves, and we use a third party to audit us regularly. Plus, we throw it out to our community of users to audit us on a regular basis. On top of that, the system is built so that even if you don't use a Netgear router, even if you use a much less secure router, you have less secure infrastructure at home,
Hmm.
the cameras are on a separate network. There's an encrypted connection between the base station and the cameras. So even if somebody manages to break into your local Wi-Fi and is in your home and can, get all of your uh, uh,
Light bulbs
hard
and
drive
computers.
information, can see
Yeah.
all your pictures, see everything, the cameras are still segregated. You still can't get to those cameras. You still have to hack into the Arlo router and then hack into a secure encrypted stream from the Arlo router to from the Arlo base station to the Arlo cameras. So we have a physical separation, we have encryption, and then we have a very secure cloud infrastructure, and then we have this consistent auditing culture within Netgear to prevent the kinds of security issues that you hear about from some of our competition.
Right. And then it sounds like a very robust bug bounty program where if someone finds something, you will, of course,
Right.
compensate them. So great. That's, and I don't think I've heard anyone say, oh, I do not buy Netgear products. They are so unsecure. I mean, Netgear has been around for long enough that they know the value of security. So once again, the name definitely means something. So with, getting back to, of course, Arlo, why don't we talk about some of the some of the plans behind the video hosting, because I know a lot of services, they they have different tiers. They have, of course, like a free and what have you. What kind of video storage, because video storage is can get very large. What kind of do you have any kind of plans, or how do you handle video storage?
Yeah. So we were the first actually company to come out and say we want people to really be able to use this product without having to pay any more money after they walk out of the store.
Mm-hmm.
So right away we said 7 days video storage for free. So every motion clip, every recorded clip that you send up to the cloud, to your personal private password protected cloud account, is stored for 7 days free of charge to you. During that 7 days, you can view your clips, you can download your clips, you can share your clips, or you can delete your clips. It's up to you. You can do that at any time. On day number 8, that is deleted forever, and that is for your privacy, for your security, so that that once you don't want that information available, it is not available to anyone ever again. For some people, that's not enough. So there's 2 different variables that we provide for people. One is um, longevity of storage. So we have a 30-day storage plan and a 60-day storage plan. 30 days is $10 a month. 60 days is $15 a month, I should say, $9.99 and $14.99. In addition to that, the free plan, the 7-day plan, comes with free for 5 cameras, up to 5 cameras. The 6th camera you have to pay for the 30-day plan. So it's 30 days and 10 cameras.
Okay.
And then if you want 20 cameras, then you do the 60-day and 20 cameras.
Now, to
So
be
that's
clear,
those are the plans.
right now, but to be clear, what would you say is the average typical house going to use in terms of cameras? Because 20 seems like a little excessive for a home.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So our typical consumer, so we have, we've I think we've announced. Well, I don't know actually how much we've announced, but we have, I could say, well over 1 million cameras in the marketplace. We have well over 750,000 customers in the world, and on average, people have between 2 cameras. And we find that number is actually increasing. So it's 2 point something, and it's getting closer and closer to 3, and we anticipate it'll actually be above 3 at some point in the not too distant future. Because what we're finding is the more cameras people buy, the more places they find they need them.
Right.
So if you have 0 cameras, you think to yourself, front door, back door.
Right.
Once you have front door, back door, now you start thinking about, well, what's going on in my garage? What's going on, in my backyard? What's going on my back gate? So the more cameras people have, we find up to obviously a ceiling, the more cameras people want. And so that's why we have so many different kits of cameras that come with different plans associated with them. So we have a 5-camera kit, we have a 4-camera kit, we have a 3-camera kit, et cetera, and you can keep adding and adding and adding.
Makes perfect sense. And talking about all these different cameras, I mean, of course, there's the you mentioned there the back gate. What about that back gate? I mean, you already mentioned that the base station is going to emit its own signal for for all these cameras, and as long as they're within range, you're good. What happens when maybe one of these cameras just is barely not in range or just doesn't reach? I mean, do you have any solution for that? Or what happens when your Wi-Fi network doesn't reach one of your cameras?
So we do have a solution for that, actually. It's called Arlo Go. It's currently on sale through AT&T only for enterprise and government, but we have announced Verizon is going to be selling this camera very soon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be to consumers, all channels. You'll be able to go and buy one. And then we're also going to very soon, if you keep your ears open, you're going to hear another retail experience is going to be available as well. So what that camera does is it connects to the network, either AT&T's network or Verizon's network, and it bypasses Wi-Fi entirely. So instead of requiring a base station, it's its own base station.
Okay.
Instead of requiring a router and power, it's its own router, and it has its own battery for power. So it gets up to 2.5 months of battery life. And one of the things that amazes people when they hold this camera in their hand, the camera is about the size of 2 Arlo Pros side by side. So it's a little bit bigger. It's got a bigger battery. It's got an LTE modem inside. It has an SD card. It has a SIM card. One of the things that's amazing to people is once you set it up that first time, so you have an active SIM card, you add it to your Arlo account, it works just like that forever. You never have to do anything other than set it up and point it at what you're interested in. So just as an example, you go to a hotel room, you take the camera out of your bag.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do anything else. Point it at your belongings that you care about. Let's say you stack all your belongings on the couch, put your camera at the couch, leave the room. As soon as the maid comes in or a burglar or whatever,
Right.
triggers the camera starts recording, uploads it to the cloud, and lets you know what's going on right away. That's the entire setup process. And so that means that whatever you're interested in looking at, whether it's just outside of range of your Wi-Fi or you're setting it up just for a couple days while you're on a trip, it's very, very easy up, very, very easy down, and really, really easy to move around. So we're very excited about that. We understand it's a bit of a niche potentially in that lots and lots of people are comfortable. They have Wi-Fi. They feel comfortable putting up their base station, and they don't necessarily want to pay for a data connection for their camera.
Right.
But at the same time, if you need it, there's really nothing else out there that will do this.
Right. And I actually just remembered the question I had before. And if you go on to arlo.com, of course we have a link on our website to Arlo, but if you scroll down a little bit, you see partners, and you look like you've really made an effort to work with quite a number. IFTTT, had them on the show. They're wonderful. Places like Wink and other, just kind of Internet of Things standards. How important is it for you to work with other, networks, and why like IFTTT, or why did you decide to work with Wink?
Let me ask let me answer the broader question. Why do we want to work with partners? And then I'll talk about each individual partner. So today, in today's world, IoT devices are primarily point solutions, right?
Hmm.
Somebody, Philips Hue creates the light bulb. LifeX creates a light bulb. Somebody else creates a door window sensor. Somebody creates a water temperature sensor. Somebody else creates
Right.
a thermostat. These things don't all naturally work together. So you can solve that problem one of two ways: by either creating every single type of sensor, every single type of IoT device under the sun yourself and creating a single infrastructure around all of that,
Hmm.
or you can become part of a broader um, ecosystem and infrastructure that works with many different IoT devices. And what we found is that there there are a lot of companies that do IoT products, and there are a lot of companies that create IoT infrastructure, but there's no one company that does both.
Right.
And certainly NETGEAR is not going to do that, right? I mean, Apple's out there talking about it, Google's out there talking about it, Amazon's out there talking about it. NETGEAR's not going to step in and solve that problem for everybody. So while the world searches for a standard, maybe that's going to be HomeKit, maybe
Hmm.
that's going to be Google Home, maybe that's going to be Amazon Alexa. But while the world marches towards some standard, we feel like we want to provide as much connectivity as possible to all of the users in the world. We know that we're not going to sell every IoT device under the sun. So we don't want to limit you. We don't want you to say, well, since I have Philips Hue light bulbs, then I can't buy an Arlo camera, right? We want
Right.
people to have that freedom. And so we started with SmartThings because they have a huge ecosystem of devices. We quickly went to IFTTT because they have communication in a very simple language tool to be able to control huge, huge number of devices.
Right.
Stringify is very similar to IFTTT, but it tends to speak to the nerdier of us who are more comfortable with ifs and thens and ands. So we do all that. Wink has an infrastructure where they have a bunch of devices that work with more like not industrial, but more like HVAC type stuff, and work with door locks and window locks and things like that. And Telguard is a company that actually is a security company, and they provide a security service, and we've actually integrated our cameras into their security service. So there are some people out there who buy the cellular security service under the Telguard brand, and they have Arlo cameras that come with it. So that is a microcosm of our strategy, right? So you actually don't see all the partners we're talking to. You only see all the partners we've announced.
Right.
And so we see a huge value in being friendly with everyone, right? It doesn't make sense for us to create a closed sandbox.
No.
Walled garden may work if you are Apple and if you have a very narrow set of devices. But in the IoT world today that's so open and so ever changing, it doesn't make sense to wall yourself off. It makes sense to open yourself up. And so that's what we're doing. And so as all these opportunities come up, we're going to keep jumping at them
No.
within reason.
Yeah, right. That is exactly what we want to hear because when you try to reach the largest number of people, you obviously want to work with, the largest amount of companies. So that's great. And I think the last point that we should talk about are the settings. You mentioned an app or you can log in through a web browser. Are there settings that you can set up the Arlo with things like, don't email me every time the cat runs across the field of view, or don't email me here, or do text me here. I mean, what kind of settings are available through the setup of Arlo?
Sure, it's a great question. So we have this currently we have this nomenclature of modes and rules. So a mode is essentially, you could think of it as either on or off, or on and off on a schedule, or on and off based on geofencing.
Hmm.
And so we call them armed, disarmed, schedule, and geofencing. So armed means that motion detection is on. Disarm means motion detection is off. It's off. That camera's not doing anything. Scheduled means it will be on and off depending on the calendar date. I mean, sorry, the time of day.
Right.
And geofencing means you have the Arlo app on your phone and you have geofencing on, then when you're either outside or inside of the geofenced area, then the cameras will be armed or disarmed based on your settings. And so, so that's the modes. And under the modes, there's rules. And so each of the rules can be record this specific camera, let's say front door cam, record on front door cam on motion, and then send me an email and a push notification. You can also say, if I detect motion on front door camera, then also record video on my garage camera. So you can combine rules in a single mode, and you can have actions on one camera control other cameras. And I'm sure you can imagine that today, when we have only cameras, somewhat limited, but as you expand the view and realize that we're probably not going to do cameras forever, that when we come out with non-camera products at some inevitable point in the future,
Right.
that we will be able to control cameras from non-camera products and control non-camera products from camera products via these modes and rules. And that's constantly evolving, and it will continue to evolve as we come up with new ways to interact, and as we come up with new products, and as our customers come back with new use cases, use scenarios.
Yeah, and again, you can check out arlo.com and you can see, the new Arlo Go, like you mentioned, coming soon, and Arlo Baby looks like a little rabbit, adorable, and a couple of different Arlo different cameras. It sounds like you are still fleshing out your product line, and it's like you said, it in just a matter of years. I mean, like seriously, 3-4 years. There's gone from almost no solution, or even almost no need for this product, to everyone should probably have one of these in their home at some point. So I mean, there's a lot to figure out, and it sounds like Arlo and it sounds like Netgear have your work cut out for you. So Oleg, was there anything that we may have glossed over or didn't mention that you want to mention before we say goodbye?
Well, I'm cognizant of the fact that we're almost out of time, but I do want to point out to Arlo Baby that Arlo Baby is going to be an amazing product standalone, and I'm not going to get too much into it because I just don't have the time. But I want to point out that Arlo Baby is our first step away from home security, right?
Mhm.
Arlo Baby is a baby camera. It's a very different customer. It's a very different channel, right? We're going to be selling it through a Babies R Us or a Toys R Us
Right.
or Bed Bath and Beyond, things like that. That is our first baby step away from the traditional all day, everyday security monitoring. And that is the first baby step. And so as you look at our roadmap, as you look to the future of Arlo, as you look to the future of Netgear, we're going to have a lot of really exciting products to announce in the near future, and we're gonna be popping up in parts of your life that maybe you didn't expect, but we're always going to be there to help you feel more secure, to feel more comfortable, and to help you keep an eye on what you care about the most.
And again, I don't know anything about your roadmap, but I can't wait for the pet cam. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And I will say that Compute America recently received I think 2 Arlo cams. We're gonna be trying them out. My mother loves looking at her bird feeder, and I'm probably gonna have one of the cameras set up outside, pointing at her bird feeder, so she can watch that wherever. But no, we're stay tuned to Computer America. We're probably gonna do a write up here before long. And I just want to say, Oleg, thank you so much for coming by. This was a treat, and I think we got a lot of good information. Sorry for keeping you over by about half an hour, but once again, thank you for coming on Computer America.
Thank you very much for having me, and I love any opportunity to talk about Arlo.
Perfect. And yeah, and please, when some of those other products come out, let us know, and we love to have you back on to to talk about it. This was great.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right, so, and I'm going to say goodbye, Oleg, once again, and everyone out there, thank you so much, Oleg, and thank you for listening to, again, that was NETGEAR, Mr. Oleg Fishel. He is the Senior Product Line Manager for Arlo. And yeah, once again, check out computeramerica.com for a link, or head on straight over to arlo.com. Check it out. Hey, maybe just what you're looking for. But now, we have a few things to do before the end of the show, and one of them is, of course, giving away our prize. That's right. We give away a prize to one lucky listener who interacted with our, of course, social media contest. And, this can go out to anyone out there. All you have to do is head on over to facebook.com/Computer America. Find the post. It's usually pinned to the top, first one there. And simply comment, like, share, anything you want. And you are entered to win. So we chose one random person from those who entered. And by the way, great turnout this week. And this week, the winner is, do not have the timpanis. This week's winner is Mr. Robert Kimball. That's right, Mr. Robert Kimball. He has been a long-term listener. I had to check my records to make sure that he hadn't won recently. And according to my records, he hasn't won since 2011. So for 6 years, it's sometimes it takes that long, but hey, it's always fun to listen to Computer America, and of course, we love our long-term listeners. So once again, congratulations, Robert Kimball. Thank you so much, and everyone who entered, thank you for entering. It was once again, it was a lot of fun, and it's so much fun. We will be doing it again next week. That's right. Starting next Monday, we have a new contest, and hey, we could be announcing we could be announcing your name next week, same time, same place. So with that done, once again, congratulations, Robert Kimball, and we have time for just one. I repeat, just one. I know, crazy. Just one news story, and I think we're going to jump over. I know we have a few in the show notes, but let's try to get at least one in here, and we're going to make it short and sweet, as we have this story, this coming from Fox News Tech. That's right. And this one is so outlandish, it seems like a great way to cap off a week of Computer America. So here we go. This Fox News Tech once again, and actually, sorry about that. And actually, by Digital Trends, we are going to Facebook. What are you going to do? Digital Trends, Mr. Luke Dormal, saying that laser firing underwater drones protect Norway's salmon supply by incinerating lice. There's a lot to take in there. Let's go over that again. Of course, when you picture laser-wielding robots equipped with the latest machine vision algorithm, what setting do you imagine them operating in? And the salmon farms in Norwegian fjords, of course, where currently they are being employed in Norway, along with a select few locks in Scotland. A smart underwater drone developed by Stingray Marine Solutions to help destroy lice, or sea lice. And don't worry, if you didn't know that, a lot of people don't know that salmon suffer horrendously from sea lice. Saying that it's not a problem that's all that well known outside of the salmon farming industry. In fact, it's something that salmon farms are spending a lot of money to fight, where the fish parasite itself comes from the wild, but it blossoms when you have a lot of biomass in the same place, which is exactly what you have when farms that have high density of fish. It's a problem that's just exploding. So obviously, lice, when you have a lot of fish in one tight area, they're going to jump from fish to fish to fish, and it's a big problem. So, if you're wondering how you do it, they say the Stingray drones, that's where they come in. And it's a unit that you place in each salmon pen. It's automated system kitted around with cameras and lasers that can be guided wherever they're needed. And when a fish swims by, you have to imagine recognition software that detect the sea lice. And by then, they shoot a laser of around 100 milliseconds to destroy the lice. Very, very cool. And who knew? The solution to lacey salmon was lasers on drones. Very, very cool. And again, very high tech. Great way to, I think, cap off the week. So, everyone out there, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope that you do something fun. Go see a movie. Maybe if you didn't go catch the latest Disney movie, hey, should be a lot less packed this time around. And, hey, go do something fun. And be sure to tune in again next week, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, every single week. That's right, more Computer America coming at you. Be sure to check out computeramerica.com. And with that being said, can't wait to talk to some of next week's guests. And until then, everyone, stay tuned. And stay tuned for next week. We have a lot to go over, and all of that and more. So with that being said, everyone, have a great day. Catch you next week. And until next time, have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone. And actually, one last thing we need to squeeze in here. And actually, I want to try this at the very end. I want to mention one last thing, and that is VTech. That's right, VTech 4-line small business phone system, where VTech's new 4-line small business phone system may be the perfect solution for small business owners that need to install a phone system that has all the quality and features of a much larger system. Where the new system is the most affordable and easy to install 4-line phone system on the market. And of course, expanding the system is a complete breeze, where you can, of course, just pair them up. And if you have 4, pick up another unit, pair it up wirelessly, press one button, takes no time at all, bing, bang, boom, you have yourself a new connected system. Also comes with many, many components, including cordless handsets, desk sets, cordless headsets, and so much more. You can pick them up in stores. And of course, they come with a number of different features, including full duplex, music on hold, power failure operation, 6-party conferencing, and auto attendant for each line, with so much more. And of course, because they are wireless, you can put them anywhere you need around the office. No needing to plan your office around outlets in the room. So, like I said, you can check them out in stores at Office Depot, Office Max, Staples, or online at vtechphones.com. Once again, that is the VTech 4-line small business phone system. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. So, once again, that is it for Computer America. Thank you so much, and hey, we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.